Very excited. One of the things that you just talked about before we got started was the biggest mindset shift that you've made this year that has helped you unlock more money and financial abundance.
Yeah.
What is that big mindset shift that's helped you go from where you were a couple of years ago when you sold your company, I think around the 40-ish million mark, to now over 100 million in EBITDA? What has been that mindset shift for you?
So there have been, I would say, two really key ones, and a third kind of bonus. So the first big one was my understanding of focus has changed. And so if we were to define focus as the quality and quantity of things that we say no to, right? Because the most focused person would do nothing but one thing. And so anything that's not that thing would make you less focused. So if that's the definition of what focus is. But I've thought about it like, it's almost like wine, where like as it ages, there's more nuance and there's more depth to the flavor. And I feel like as my entrepreneurial journey has like progressed, my understanding of what focus means has changed, because it's actually like focus from the top. It's literally from the top all the way down, meaning the company needs to focus on one thing, not five. And if we have 5 objectives for the year, it's because me personally, I haven't done my job, because one of those things is the most important. And if I can't tell my team this is the most important, then how am I going to expect them to make that judgment without the context that I have? And so it's like being willing to make the hard call. And I think a lot of people are afraid of making it. And the more I've doubled down on saying, if I have to choose one thing, you think differently. So like, for example, if I said, Lewis, what one thing, if you could only have one thing happen in 12 months, what would reality need to look like in 12 months for you to hit your goal? Like what one thing, if that only thing happened, the rest of your goals would either be accomplished or become irrelevant as a consequence, which is the more common one. And so in thinking about that, like this was 4 years ago, the big thing that I had was like, if I just built a big business brand, then I don't need to be the best picker of investments. I don't need to be the best negotiator, because I'll have more proprietary deal flow. So people they'll just want to come invest with me or have me invest in them. And I'll be able to pick the best company because I'll get more at-bats than anyone. And I don't need to be a pro negotiator because people want to do a deal rather than just like auctioning off between me and 10 other parties. And so it's like, if I can what's that one thing for this year? And I think where kind of strategy comes into things is by forcing that focus and saying no to the other things, you get really, really selective. And that's at the top level.
So what's the main focus for you then?
For this next year?
Yes. What was it this year, and what will it be for the next year?
So this year was actually developing like a farm system for the portfolio. So
deal flow?
Yeah. So basically what we figured out was we looked at our we looked at our whole portfolio, and right before we were talking about this, I was saying how we had kind of pruned things. And so I'm a big believer in deleting as much as possible, because you only have fixed bandwidth, and if strategy is limited resources against unlimited opportunities, and so your prioritization of that limited amount of stuff against the things you can do, like that is strategy.
Yes.
And so we had 24 portfolio companies, and so I trimmed that to 10 within the last 12 months. On top of that, I did no new deals.
Does that mean you sold your equity stake in those? Yeah, you just said I'm out.
I basically got rid of them at a loss or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is that the portfolio as a whole still outperformed the previous year by focusing on the stallions. And so on top of that, over the last year, we only did one deal, which before that we'd done 12 deals the year before. And so,
did you need to do those 12 deals first though to see where you were?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
You can't just do one deal a year to start out. You need to have some losses. And
I think that's a great point, because it's very much like, okay, if I want to be rich, I should just fly private planes. It's like that. It doesn't work. If I want to, be tall, I should play basketball. It's like people conflate what you're doing now versus what it took to get there, and so those are kind of two separate things. But back to the focus piece. If strategy is prioritization of the resources, then having focus is part of strategy, and then all the way down, because I recently hopped into the media side of the business. Back into operating, which I haven't done in years. And it's been really fun for me because I just have I have a better skill set now than I did 5 years ago, which was really the last time I really operated stuff. And just ruthlessly focusing the team on what one thing, if we did in media, would change everything. And so to the question that you had, this whole year has been dedicated to the farm system, which was like when we looked at the portfolio, we saw that our number 1, number 2, and number 4 highest performing portfolio company were companies that we had met prior to doing deals. And so we'd work with them for a little bit, just like me helping them out, hopping on phone calls, meeting in person, whatever. And I was like, ooh, okay, there's something interesting there. How can I recreate that process on purpose rather than by accident?